Hello, Seattle delegates to the Rep Assembly. My name is Julianna4WEA. If you're watching this video, it's because I emailed it to you, and I am excited to speak with you in person tomorrow at your mock RA. I wanted to add a little bit more to the conversation before I see you tomorrow, though, and this is, I guess, the easiest way to do it. So I just want to start by saying Seattle is my home. I grew up in South Park, Seattle. I was actually bused to Highland Park Elementary from the South Park neighborhood. All of my best friends were immigrants in South Park, and they went to Concord Elementary. I remember from a very young age getting on the bus and going to a school that I loved, that had small class sizes and tons of art and foreign language and recesses and field trips. But my very best friends went to an underfunded school. They did not love school like I did. I remember very young thinking the only difference between me and my friends was the color of my skin. That really set me on my journey and contributed to what a therapist once told me was an overdeveloped sense of justice. Since that time, I decided to become a teacher because of this inequality that I saw. And I loved school, and I felt it was my calling to help other kids love school. So I became a teacher in 2001, and I was a union rep before my very first day teaching. I was told that if I became a building rep, I didn't have to join 2 other committees. So my very first union meeting, I realized this is my life, this is my jam, and I was part of the union from then on. Mostly taught 5th grade since 2001, and while I was job sharing, I had the opportunity to job share for 5 years when I had babies at home. I was also able to get tons and tons of training and advocacy opportunities within Renton EA, my local, WA and NEA. Partly because I didn't need a sub because I was job sharing, but also because I was so ready and eager to do all I could for our union. That was the mid 2000s, and since then I've held pretty much every single role you can hold in our union. But I want to say that I'm running for president now at this moment because this era in our history is so incredibly intense and scary. I was local president for Renton EA for 4 years. I came back to the classroom because really after 3 years, I felt so disconnected from the work. Even though I was in classrooms almost every single day working with members, I didn't just miss teaching. I felt out of touch with the reality of the workload. I missed, having the relationships with all of the incredible staff that I work with. But more than that, I felt like I couldn't really be the best advocate so far removed from the work. So I'm back to the classroom this year. As you can see, I'm speaking to you from my 8th grade science classroom at Risdon Middle School. But I'm running for WA because I believe truly that unions are kind of our last hope. We must come together. We must bridge the political divides in our communities, but specifically in WEA, those political divides, I think, are holding us back from becoming the educators that the labor movement really needs. 10 years ago, I wrote the MBI, along with an SCA member at the time, for us to join the State Labor Council. And I really believe we can do so much more in that space. Last year at the State Labor Convention, for example, I'm a core team leader for the labor table for Healthcare for All. We brought a Healthcare for All resolution, and it passed resoundingly. But unless locals and unless state associations like WEA believe in Healthcare for All, it's just words on paper. If you didn't know, I'm currently on the executive board for our MLK Labor Council. I represent the K-12 sector there, and I have brought forward countless motions and resolutions. They always pass hugely because all of these trades in the Labor Council are hungry for us to support their understanding of what's going on in our schools. They want to know what they can do. And we know, as educators, we need all workers, not just unionized workers, but all workers to understand the power of our labor. We know that, and we feel that in our region around Seattle, but the rest of the state is far different than us. If we are going to defeat authoritarianism, we need to educate and mobilize workers and WA members statewide. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to apply the economic pressure on the billionaire class that is going to be what we need to defeat the takeover that is happening. Our students also need us to stop pretending like things are normal, and we need to offer the path to justice from tyranny. Escalating war, abducting, torturing our immigrant neighbors, attacks on our human rights from every angle, and of course the AI empire taking over our entire lives, forcing nuclear power plants in our backyard, using up all of our fresh water. These things I truly, truly believe can be turned around if we, and I mean WEA, decide to lean in and be the educators of our communities so that we can mobilize. What will it take to get there? Well, it starts with transparency and that small d democracy within our own union. Members will do more if they trust that their dues are being spent well, that their voices truly impact decisions. And when our members, internalize what real democracy looks like and feels like, our school sites will become ours. That means we can reduce workload, let go of the things that are not serving us, especially in this moment in the next 3 years when huge cuts are coming to our districts, even though we just passed the millionaire's tax. As we wait for that money, WEA must respond to what locals need for organizing with parents and community, because so many of us, let's be honest, are afraid to be honest with parents about reality in our classrooms and in our cafeterias and in our school buses and on our playgrounds. We know parents trust us with their kids, but I think often our egos kind of get in the way and they stop us from sharing just how impossible our jobs are each day. WEA can help us with that messaging. It can be the cover so that we can do that thing where we hold up this thing that public schools are the answer, and yes, they need so much more. We can hold that tension if we are honest about it. Of course, kids need more than what schools can provide right now. And, again, we passed that millionaire's tax, but the next 3 years are going to be so hard with cuts coming that are very real. We need to work with our families and do the right thing. Now, Seattle is so very special in so many ways. A huge one that I think can never be overstated is how your ESPs and certs, that's you all that are watching this, how you work hand in hand. If you're not aware, so many ESPs in Washington, not even in the WEA family. They are either in other unions or sometimes they're just not in a union at all. And SEA has, I think, underutilized power in sharing that message that we are always stronger together. And our ESPs must be our priority when it comes to funding pay increases. That should be the top of the list for legislative priorities. Of course, beyond pay, there's a lot that our certs need to be doing to ensure ESPs get the respect they deserve in our schools. I have so many ideas for this, but need you to work with me on which ones you're willing to take on and which ones you think will work for your local. Of course, nothing in the union is done alone. And frankly, presidents have too much power these days. So one idea I'd like to bring forward is if WEA members are into it, is to change our structure so that we have a CERT and an ESP co-president. This will take some time to achieve, but it's the kind of radical thinking that I'm known for, and I believe in it. Transparency in WEA is a big part of my campaign. Just like when you get together to endorse candidates for the legislature, through your WEPAC process, whether it's legislature, school board, or mayor, or city council, every WEPAC member knows they're invited and is welcome to that process. So as a WEPAC chair for years and years, I know that you ensure candidate questionnaires and interviews are really scrutinized and are held right up along with voting records and the PDC reports to know who's funding these candidates. And I know that these decisions are made with your members fully aware of not just who you endorse, but why you endorse the candidates that you do. Getting that coveted SEA logo is a big deal. So I hope, I say all that because I hope that you know that endorsements for the WEA president should frankly follow those same expectations. They should be thoughtful and intentional. I've seen these processes, these sort of council endorsement processes, become a kind of popularity contest where instead of learning all that we can about a candidate before we vote to endorse, we just kind of listen to a speech or look at a flyer. And this is a problem. I think it weakens our internal democracy. It lets some of our delegates believe that someone else will solve their problems. And, that's never been true, especially not in unions. So if elected president, I don't want accolades or adoration. I will be alongside you, pulling together to transform our schools into the community centers that we know they can be. Everyone should be able to come to school and connect, and I mean everyone, build up each other through accessing healthcare opportunities, art, gardening, sports, all the things. Community schools are possible everywhere, but probably most in Seattle. If we decided to educate the public on what is behind the attacks on our humanity and our federal government. And if we as educators provide that hopeful path forward, we can do incredible things. In this moment, WEA can and must do more. I'd love your vote, but no matter what, I want to be in circle with you to hear your passions and fears and ideas and questions. We are one in this union, and I really believe that we can do a lot more to embody that spirit. Thanks for taking the time to watch all this. I know it's long, but I will see you tomorrow at your mock RA, where I hope you will ask hard questions and give feedback on my platform, and know that I will always respond to you. I will never leave you behind. Even if I don't get elected, this is my life's work. Union activism, union organizing is what it's about, and we are here to keep each other safe. Solidarity.